Are you a man? Smoke tabs, drink beer, kill little animals, and wear big shades.
How are you doing?
Well, the Porsche 911 Turbo is the car for you.
911 Turbo, driving the man in you.
No, but seriously, as you should have guessed by now, all the cars featured on this show appeal to a certain type of character, usually male, usually of the alpha persuasion. They are all physically demanding, challenging to drive, and more often than not, downright dangerous. But none more so than the 1975 Porsche 911 Turbo. It is a balls-to-the-wall car to drive, and it takes no prisoners.
Porsche 911s, particularly ones of that era and earlier, whatever's powering them, are a challenge to drive. They do not suffer fools gladly, and if you make mistakes in them, they tend to punish those mistakes very severely.
It's no surprise that the 911 is so appealing to those of a thrill-seeking nature, because the car's turbo technology was derived from this, the Porsche 917, the world's ultimate racing car. Now, a supercharger is driven from the crankshaft and uses gears or pistons to force air into the engine. A turbocharger, on the other hand, uses exhaust fumes to drive a small compressor which pushes more air into the engine. Look at this happy valve. His cylinder is full of air, and with air in the engine you can burn more fuel, which creates more energy, which makes the car go faster.
Zoom, takes off.
It was one of the very, very first cars to be put into production with a turbocharged engine. What this enabled Porsche to do was to provide supercar power, the sort of power in the relatively compact dimensions of the Porsche 911, which made the car much more usable. But it also was simply the most challenging car you could buy.
Oh yes, the challenging drive, which is by no means a negative when you're talking about power cars. You may have noticed that the Porsche has a rear-mounted engine. That's 60% of the car's weight hanging over the rear axle, which means if you take a corner too quickly, the back of the car will try to keep going in a straight line, and you'll end up flying off the road. That's a bad thing. And this is the reason why every 911 driver should remember the following mantra: slow in, fast out.
The upper side of the rear engine of the Porsche is that you can get phenomenal traction as you actually exit a corner, and so hence the mantra, slow in, fast out.
So as long as you remember the slow in, fast out mantra, you should be able to stay on the road, yes? Well, no. The turbocharge had an appalling lag.
Because it had a very early turbocharged engine, the power didn't come in a nice linear flow. You just sit there waiting for something to happen with your foot on the floor, wondering why nothing was happening. And then suddenly this huge bang would arrive. And you just had to be hoping you were pointing in a straight line when it did, or else something fairly untoward might happen.
It's in some ways like an unexploded grenade. You're just waiting for it to go off.
Because while driving a power car should push you to the limits of your abilities, knowing that a wayward power boost could come at any time and slam you into the afterlife does kind of take the fun out of the drive.